Hey, last one here. Just a few snaps to illustrate Chapter 21 of Among the Multihulls. 5 minutes. Here we have a couple of very healthy-looking Cuban kids, but in the background is El Morro, the old Spanish fortress at the entrance of Havana Harbor. It's now fitted with a very powerful lighthouse. The loom of that light, not the light itself, but just the reflection in the sky, can be seen from Miami across the Straits of Florida. That's how close Cuba is to the United States. I have just a few snaps of our voyage to Cuba in 1996 in Scrimshaw, these grand plazas in Havana. The elegant hotels and estates, some of them still fairly well maintained since the Batista era. The Gulf Stream running right by the door. And the gleaming restorations of American automobiles from the 1940s and 50s. Many were still very much in use when we were there, primarily as illegal taxicabs. And what grand architecture! We had heard the stories of all the ramshackle buildings, and it's true, I don't think there's enough money in America to fix up Cuba, but some of it was very well maintained or restored. Just glorious interior plazas surrounded by the accommodations of these homes. Some very gracious settings still. And colors, boy, the Cubans really get into it. This is a collection of papier-mâché art. The hot colors go right along with their music. And they can really make things last. This is one of those monstrous Russian biplanes, still in daily service. Unfortunately, they do not sell tickets to tourists. This is a pharmacy, well stocked with holistic ministrations. And incidentally, the people are very healthy, and health care is essentially free. This is a troupe of musicians from the Havana Institute of Music, with their instructor on the right, all except for that babe in the middle with the maracas, which is Joanna. Let's have a closer look at these faces. Talk about vitality. These girls worked their voices in complicated harmonies, and they were really doing something with their instruments. Joanna and I very much enjoyed our encounter with this troupe. They were absolutely beautiful, both physically and musically, and they were decked out. And their instructor, the lucky guy, had them wandering the streets playing for tips as part of their musical education. And then we have the United States Coast Guard in their unsuccessful attempt to board our Scrimshaw in the middle of the Yucatan Channel. I'll have to leave it to the text to tell that story. And I'll leave it to the epilogue to explain why I think Cuba just might be a harbinger of where the rest of the world is going. Personally, I guess I'd like to see it go more like Cuba than like, say, China. Well, we didn't know it at the time, but our cruise to Cuba in 1996 would be our final foreign water junket in Scrimshaw. I can scarcely apprehend the extent to which this old boat has shaped our lives, so I just had to write a book about it. And I hope very much that you might have enjoyed the reading and the viewing. Bye-bye. Of course, all this material, text, images, and narration is copyrighted James W. Brown 2011. All rights reserved.